Friday night, and Lisa with New Start University here, and I want to share with you a quote that I heard. And before I share that quote with you, I want to tell you a little story. I was talking to one of the girls in my group the other day, and it's funny because I have 2 or 3 different girls in my weight loss group, and every time I talk to them, if I say, hey, how are you doing? Or I see you haven't checked in, what's going on? They'll always say, I'm sorry, and then go on with the story. Now, if you're a friend of mine, if you're a true friend of mine, I guarantee that I've told you I'm sorry on more than one occasion. I remember even being in 4th grade on my report card, and my teacher wrote that I needed to stop saying I was sorry all the time. And it's just something that I've always done. And I noticed that it's something that a lot of the women in my group do as well. We're always saying we're sorry when we really have nothing at all to be sorry for. So I was talking to one of the girls, and she was voice texting, and she said sorry. And I said, okay, your goal is to stop saying that. You have absolutely nothing to be sorry for. And her husband, which I thought was very interesting, overheard her conversation, and we were talking about why we always say we're sorry. And he said, because we strive for perfectionism and we put this pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and we're so afraid of letting others down, so we're constantly saying we're sorry. And I just thought that was really insightful, especially for a man, that he was able to see that. And it got me really thinking. And I came across this quote that I absolutely love. And it says, the thing that is really hard and really amazing is giving up on being perfect and beginning the work of becoming yourself. Wow, that's like really, really deep. And I love that because that's something over the last year I've really kind of made my mantra for my life, to be imperfectly perfect. I mean, if I was worried about being perfect, I sure as heck wouldn't be on here doing a live video with no makeup and my hair looking like it hasn't been combed at all today. But I just gave that up because there are so many different things. When we're striving to be perfect, we not only create this crazy, unnecessary pressure on ourselves, but we actually create pressure on those around us. Because if they think that everything's perfect, then they feel like they have to measure up. And I realized that one day. I was talking to another girl, we were in a car, and I had said something one time about how thankful I was that my husband had not let me run on occasion, because I come from families that have been divorced, and that's just what you do. You run when there have been issues. And I had a husband that didn't allow me to run, which was like what I wanted to do at times. And I had said something about that on Facebook. And she told me, she said, I am so thankful that you shared on Facebook, that you gave us a glimpse that your life was not perfect. She said, because I've only seen you, through sporting events with your children, and I've only seen you and your husband in public, and I thought you all had a perfect life. And see, she didn't know what was going on behind closed doors, but unintentionally, I had made her feel like we had everything perfect. So then when she was evaluating her relationship, she felt like her relationship with her husband didn't measure up, which was so far from the truth. I was going through something with one of my children one time, and I kept it completely secret because I didn't want to, give all their secrets away, but I just felt like it was something that I didn't want the world to know. And when I finally told somebody, they were like, oh my gosh, that's so normal. We've been going through this too. But we all just have this unknown, for some reason we all feel like we have to be perfect, and we put these masks on and we walk around like, hey, everything's great, everything's perfect, when in reality it's not, and it's okay. Because who wants to be friends with somebody that's completely perfect all the time anyhow? I mean, that is really hard. And when you have that pressure on yourself, a lot of times that'll actually keep you from trying new things. Gosh, in our time and age now, with social media being the way it is, I mean, I'm terrified to go out and try something new, because if I fall flat on my face, I mean, I could be a YouTube video in like 5 seconds flat, or it could be tweeted about, or, anything. So society has definitely not helped us learn to just embrace our imperfections, but it's so important. From a healthy standpoint, it's so important. A lot of times you feel like you have to do everything 100%, or you won't be able to do anything at all. So you just don't try. And then there's, I talk about it all the time, the martyr attitude, where if you catch yourself saying, well, I ought to, or I should, I really don't want to go do this for this person, but boy, it'd make me look good and it'd make me look perfect in everybody's eyes, so I'm going to go do it. We've got to at some point stop caring what everybody else thinks, and we've got to learn to just be ourselves. You know, in my last job I had to go on sales calls all the time, which meant I had to take people out to lunch. I used to be so afraid because invariably I would spill food and it would land on my chest every single time. And I would have so much anxiety that I would even cancel appointments and not go on them because I just knew in my head that's what was going to happen. It was going to spill on me. I was going to look unprofessional. You know, I would lose any trust that they had built up or any credibility, if you will. And I was a nervous wreck about it. So it finally just got to the point where I'd say, hey, this is me. And by the end of the day, by the end of our lunch, I'm going to have stuff on my shirt. Like, that's just me. Like me or hate me, whatever, that's just how it's going to be. And by knowing that I didn't have to be perfect, that just released so much pressure off my chest. Like, I could breathe again, and I was able to excel in that position. And I just want, if there's nothing else that you take away from this message, because y'all know I get on here and just ramble. I don't know what God's wanting me to say exactly, other than just like, let's take the masks off. Let's stop trying to be perfect. I could tell you so many stories about myself. 2 years ago, for those of you that live in Tennessee, 2 or 3 years ago, overweight, my car breaks down. I'm in a swimming suit on I-24. My son's a baby, so I have a friend come and get him and get all our the other boys that were with me and take them to their house because it was going to be a little bit before the tow truck got there. Well, I didn't realize that when the tow truck got there, I was going to have to get out of my car on I-24 wearing nothing but a bikini, which was not flattering at all, and get in a tow truck with this man. Like, how humiliating is that? So I had two choices. I could either let that just ruin me and just, like, be mortified, or I could just kind of laugh about it and be like, hey, this is me, that's what it is. And I think people relate to you so much better when you're vulnerable and when they just see that you're real. Like, none of us want that perfect friend that, you know, you feel like they can't ever screw up or they can't ever have gas or they can't ever, you know, fall on their face. Like, you want somebody that's real. And that's what people want from you. And that's what you owe to yourself, is for you to be real. And stop having that pressure of being perfect. Because none of us are perfect. We weren't designed to be perfect. And there's no way you can be. So why keep trying? Yes, you need to give it your all. Yes, you need to have goals and things that you work towards. But don't keep trying to be perfect. So this is what I want you to do. I want all of you to try to embrace for the rest of 2017 to be imperfectly perfect with me. And I'll be blogging more about this on my website at newstartuniversity.com. So let's all go be imperfectly perfect together.